Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
and today we're going to talk a little bit about Supercharger Vandalism. But first, let's roll that title.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express!
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. And Patrick, that worked for great this time. So yeah, Mark one up in the win column for us early.
Nice.
So with that, we're going to talk a little bit today about some supercharging vandalism. And not a great topic, but one that has to be addressed. There is, of course, a increasing amount of superchargers out there, stalls and locations. And what happened just over the past few days was there was two separate stories. First, there was a story from Houston, Texas, describing how a supercharger in the Houston area was attacked by people cutting the cable, multiple cables, for all the superchargers that were there. And we're talking about right at the nib. They cut it so that they've got, about 3.5 feet of cable length along with the NAC's head, all of that being taken from the site. And then not 3 days later, San Francisco got hit at a certain supercharger as well, with the same type of vandalism. Someone snipping it at the nib and stealing the cable and the NAC's head at that time. And I can just imagine the frustration someone might have that was arriving at that supercharger shortly after those cables had been cut and stolen. If you were to get there and find that the 12 superchargers here had no cables to plug into your car at all, and you were arriving with just a 10% or less charge, that would be infuriating, to say the least, if you were depending on that charger being up and operational.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke about, maybe they wanted the handles, and then I thought about it, that could be a legitimate thing. There aren't enough NACS handles out there that maybe some unscrupulous person is putting NACS handles on their chargers. But don't put any stock in that. The only saving grace in the scenario that you gave us just now is that only the people who were en route when it happened and close enough that the car didn't refresh how many superchargers were available would be caught flat-footed by this. Because when the charging handles sensors go away, you can assume that it was cut. And if they all do it, then you know that you've just been vandalized. So
yeah, especially if you start seeing one every 3.5 seconds are being cut off.
Yeah,
then you're kind of getting the idea as to what's going on and what's going to happen next.
That's right.
Oh, that's interesting. So if they can actually detect when the cables are cut, what could they do? Could you have a nearby camera that starts taking pictures? Could you call the authorities and say, vandalism is happening here, call the police, or maybe even a regional security company that they have a contract with? The cool thing about this is, not that this is cool at all, but Tesla has systems in place. They have real-time data that they're collecting about utilization and issues. So like you said, Casey, unless you're on your way there, they can mark that station as down in real time in the map in all of their vehicles, so that the next person who needs to charge is going to get routed somewhere else, and they won't even know that this problem exists. And hopefully that next station doesn't get crowded and backed up. But so before having a Tesla, I had a few EVs before, and we had to use CHAdeMO stations, and there was usually only one or two of them, and one or two of them were usually broken, and one or two of them were usually blocked by another car. So that meant that often you couldn't charge, and it was really frustrating. So, Tesla has solved that by having, usually 8 stations or so that you don't have congestion, or if one's down, it doesn't stop the whole site. So, they've got some mechanisms they can use here to help alleviate some of the problem.
Yeah, and so that was the photo that I saw, and to me it looked like it was a V2 when I was looking at it on my screen originally. And that's the thing about the V2 versus V3, is that the V2 uses more copper than the V3 because the V3 is liquid cooled. And so I was thinking that, oh, that might help stop some people. And then I thought about it some more. And what would stop even more people is when they go to the 800 volt, 1000 volt charging,
Yes.
it will stop even more if they only do, if they, like, hey, this station is only a V4 station. It can't do V3 and V2. That would cut it down even more because the more, when you double the voltage, you can cut the size of the cable basically in half. And so then it wouldn't even be worth the effort to get your tools and risk getting caught.
Yeah, in the Houston area, there were 5 different superchargers that were hit, 5 different locations. Not all the chargers at a single location were hit. Only a few of them were cut. But it looks like they these perpetrators were maybe interrupted in what they were doing because they didn't go to all the separate chargers.
Right. So I was thinking about, obviously everything I thought about at first was booby traps, and that's illegal. I was like, well, if it needs coolant to operate, what's to say that the coolant can't be an acid or an irritant?
This is not a good idea. If any lawyers listening, that was really funny, Casey. Just a great joke.
Yeah, like we would all love the fix is that you're feeding a current through the a loop in the actual wire, and if someone attacks it with a cutting instrument, that they get a nice shock. But of course, that's liability. You're going to kill somebody. You just can't do that kind of stuff. Like, although it would be poetic justice in many ways, this is something that you can't do. But Patrick's idea, possibly, that if you start seeing one after another start to go offline, to have a video surveillance that maybe multiple cameras turn on at that point, or there's some way to alert somebody that although you're going to have a difficult time of getting there in time if this group has got if they got the ability to get out of there quickly, they're only taking 2 minutes to snip each one, then they might be there for a total of 20 minutes. That might be enough to stop somebody. It may not, but it certainly would make sense to be able to chase them down anyways. Increase your ability to get there would certainly be helpful.
Yeah, I can build on this. So remember, the V1 superchargers were just a stack of the car's onboard chargers, and all the little lights that we have on the superchargers are just the lights from the door pockets, the puddle lights. Why not take AP 2.0 cameras, hook 4 of them up to or 2 up to each supercharger cabinet, and then put the old AP2 computer in the supercharger cabinet, and now you've got can run Sentry mode all day long on it.
Yes, Sentry mode for superchargers. I love it.
Yeah. You don't have to give them the good new cameras. Just find the old ones as people upgrade, or as you no longer need to support those cars anymore. Just deploy them like that.
That's funny.
Yeah, like you're going to have to do something like the security wise. I understand there's not everybody has the ability to send fast internet from a supercharger site. It may not be wired for that. You could certainly put a Starlink in, but that's going to cost money. But when it comes to higher crime areas, maybe that's what has to be done. Maybe that's part of the infrastructure that has to be put in place when those superchargers are actually installed or upgraded.
So that station I charged at this weekend, this past weekend, that was originally a V1 and it got upgraded to V2, then it got the 135, then the 150 upgrade. It had something new from the last time I was there. It had a Wi-Fi connection. I didn't see any Starlink, but it had a Tesla Wi-Fi that my car connected to. It is just going to have to be part of the cost of doing business. It's cheaper than the electricity they're spending on the place.
Right, and it doesn't have to stream 24/7. Like Sentry mode, you have events, and so if you see this vandalism happen, okay, send the last 10 minutes of footage, and you send that to the security team.
And they've already built the code. It's the same logic as trailer protection mode on.
Security.
Speaking of security, yeah.
Got him. Got us all.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Are we back?
Security
Okay.
got us all. The
Cool.
security got everybody.
Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit here, and I don't want to disparage anybody, but Tesla did just lay off a lot of people who worked on superchargers. What do you think the chances are that one of them said, "Hey, I'm mad, and I know where this supercharger is. If I vandalize it, maybe you'll have to hire me to refix it."
And it could explain why the Houston ones didn't have entire outages like the other one. Not saying that that's what happened, but it's a possibility. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, that's interesting, Patrick. Although I would say that, it's San Francisco Bay Area, right? Like that's right around Fremont.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where the Supercharger team was based. If they were all moved to Texas or if they stayed in California, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I assume that they had some people all over the place because they have to be serviced
That's
and
true.
maintained and upgraded, and so
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's a possibility, certainly. Like Casey said, this is probably going to have to be the cost of doing business going forward. If these type of troubles happen in certain areas, you're going to have to start being prepared for it. And I hope that Tesla is, because of course we know that Tesla is the most reliable network there is. I would hate for that to start to change because some idiot out there is deciding it's fun on a Saturday night to snip cables and then laugh about it all the way to getting caught sometime with the police. Like it's ridiculous. I don't understand why this is something that someone would want to do over and over again. I don't get it.
If you start seeing a bunch of NAT connectors on eBay, that might be a suspect.
So I've got another case of they've already got the technology deployed to do this. Model 3 keys are like $12. So embed those into the car, like or not in the car, into the cable, very much like how you have very much like how you have the
like the Apple chip tracers, right? You put a little charging beacon inside of the cable somewhere, and you could at least track
like dog or cat.
Yeah, track that dog or cat who has the snipping cables and get them arrested or impounded.
Oh no! I mean that would be even better, but it's more high power. But literally, like your dog or cat. So when the thief comes to the place to turn it in. If it's still got the chip in it and they don't have a Tesla employee ID badge, then call the cops. Just delay them and oh yeah, I'm getting the payment. It's gonna take a little extra minute, and then
and then the police show up.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So we dropped off some scrap metal recently, and you have to actually sign in and give them ID and all this stuff now because so many people have been stealing from job sites the copper tubing from the plumbing and other things. That it's become such an issue that you actually have to show your driver's license to even drop off one truckload of stuff. And so yeah, having RFID in there, and then you just get their ID, and then you scan it, and then if it shows up as stolen property, then you obviously don't pay them, and you call the cops.
Yeah, that's a great solution. Well, hopefully,
and yeah, everybody will say, "Oh, that only works for the shops that care." This is true. But if you work with, again, another case of talk to your representatives. I don't mean just rep, but literally any politician that represents you, and you make it so that that there's a consequence for getting caught with not having the due diligence of collecting IDs and scanning these whatever open standard they come up with to see if the serial number has been reported, and if it's even got a serial number, then that's another solution right there.
Yeah, like catalytic converters was a big problem, and now there are many states have laws that track those much more closely, and they'll let anybody turn it in for cash because that encourages theft.
Yeah. Well, we got a few solutions that Tesla could employ. It'll be interesting to see if this continues. If some of these these solutions are put in place, and certainly if they're going to be put in place, it'd be great to publicize it, because at least then some of the smarter, stupid criminals would be able to decide that maybe I shouldn't try this, because I'm seeing that Tesla's tracking this stuff. They've got some sort of chip in it, and if I have it in my possession or it's tracked to me, I'm going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right, especially if it's the powered chips that like home. Oh yeah, he's right here.
Yeah,
but we were talking about some solutions that other vendors have tried that didn't actually work all that well. So we talked about how ChargePoint locks the handles to the station, and then Patrick and I were talking about the cord. Somebody suggested pulling the supercharger cable back into the cabinet, or not the cabinet, to the pedestal. And Patrick pointed out you had experience with them firsthand.
GE had stations, level 2 stations that retracted the cable back in, and it was a really slick design. They look kind of like these little tall mushrooms, and it worked great for about 2 months. And in the year that we had them, the last 10 months, they were always having problems, and the cable wouldn't retract in, and it was all over the ground. And eventually, those just got pulled out and replaced with other stuff, because I think GE got out of the business altogether.
Yeah.
So the retracting the cable seems like a great idea. In practice, not so much.
Right.
Yeah, they got to realize that those moving parts are going to need maintenance, and
Exactly.
They're going to be exposed to all sorts of weather too. So they can't be a maintenance issue. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Worse than moving parts is moving parts and the general public.
Yes. Bad combo.
Well, with that, I think we will wrap it today. Casey, what do you got happening this Sunday?
So Sunday, check us out at youtube.com at Casey Green, or over at hvnomads.com. That's High Voltage Nomads. And then we will have a show that's similar to this one about live about the what's going on in the world of green living, and it'll be a blast. We'll have a chat. Let's chat with Casey and friends, and then coming up the day after that on Monday, we've got another one of these Tesla Life Expresses, and then on Wednesday we'll be back with another live show.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Patrick. Any shout outs from you?
Yes, I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net, where I write about my future free from fossil fuels. And as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Very good. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Check with us next time, and together we'll find out what's happening in the Tesla life.